So we'll see if other people jump on. Hopefully Mandy and Allie and Joni. Did Joni even jump off? I hope you're still there. Look at us. I can't see who's all on here. Oh, you're on there. Okay. I get Mandy and Allison and Joni, tell me what you guys need. Do you want me to go through the whole spiel? Do you want to just ask questions? I was going to share the website, talk about a lot of different random things. I feel like my staff is very well aware of all of that. I'm not seeing any questions. Mandy, what would you like to be bribed? You're an active parent and you're a staff member, so not sure what you want to know. I can share the website and just a brief overview. Okay, well, why don't I start and I will present the website and then we'll kind of go through a couple different things. What is the protocol? Okay, well, I saw that, Allison, so let me share a couple different things here. So right now, you guys are on the website for Fern Ridge School District. When you go to the Fern Ridge website, you have a couple different really great options. 2020 school year, that's the #1 thing that we're putting a lot of stuff under. We're also putting things just under our Fern Ridge website main page. So if you can't find it on the main page, it's probably located also on the 2020 school year, just to try to help organize things. You can go through and watch the recorded sessions. You can get the calendars. We'll still do our monthly communication calendar. It'll be posted on our website, Facebook, sent out, remind, paper, pencil, and that kind of stuff. Registration, I think all of you guys have registered and you're totally fine. Daily schedule for K3 students, that kind of goes over the AB schedule. Daily schedule 4th, 12th, that's the hybrid comprehensive distance learning. For our 4th and 5th graders, we kind of made a common agreement to just say we're going to try with this schedule and then get feedback from our students and our staff and our parents and make adjustments. Attendance is one of the things that we're definitely working on. And then the different models that the district offers. Health and wellness, you can find the different county metrics. We'll put in some social emotional supports and resources for families. So whether if your kiddos need something, if you guys need something, if you know somebody that needs something, absolutely let us help with that. When to keep a kid home. This is something that we've been working on and we'll be putting out and trying to communicate with families. One of the things that a couple different daycares I've communicated with, they haven't sent home any students this summer sick, because parents are actively working to keep their kiddo home rather than send them sick, because if they have certain symptoms, and I see your question about the protocol with COVID, we'll talk about that a little bit more when it's a confirmed case. It's really not an easy answer, but we definitely have a lot of information around that. But if your kid comes to school with a symptom, they'll go to the waiting room, which will most likely be in our library, and they pretty much wait there until you get there. If we send a kid home with COVID-like symptoms, then there's an entire framework and flow chart for what that next step looks like, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So this is just kind of a general information form for families. Let me go back. Transportation talks about what that's going to look like as far as physical distancing. What are the protocols? That's kind of one of the biggest things that all of us are having to do at the admin level, is create these protocols, put these plans in place, work on the communication pieces. What are recommended? What are required? How do we train? How do we help with that? PPE and what's available in the schools. We purchase face shields for every student K through 5. That's up to the parent. If you feel strongly and you want your kid to wear a mask, we'll absolutely support that. But one of the things that I've read says that while face shields might not be the best overall protective, for kids, they're working really well because kids are wearing them more correctly. Whereas with the masks, they're touching them, they're pulling them, they're, you know, it's kind of a mess. And so even though technically the masks, if worn correctly, are better, what they're finding is that kids aren't wearing them correctly, which we all knew was going to happen. Sarah Elliott. Hi, Sarah. I'm adding you in. We just started. I'm kind of going over the website. Technology, we just put out some things with the agreement for Chromebook devices. If you guys need a device, if you know anybody that needs a device, all high schoolers will have a school device. They're moving one-to-one anyway. So they're asking that every single high schooler get a device regardless. 4th through 8th grade, it's a little bit different just because we're not moving to one-to-one devices. But if you need a device, we'll absolutely support that. Blueprints for reentry. So the blueprints are what we worked on all summer long. Let me make sure that you can still see that. That's good. You can find each buildings. They have some similar characteristics, and then they're kind of individualized based on the school and the model. It is 23 fun to read pages. And what I would say, if you're interested, so going down the left-hand side is what's required by ODE that we had to go over. On the right-hand side is kind of the site's model and the plan. There are some things that will constantly be in flux. Like there's already, I'd say, at least 5 different things that I have to update on here. And I'm kind of waiting through next week, and then I'll update everything so that it can get up there. Let me see here. I'm going to X out of that. And one of the things that I want to show you, what is the protocol if one kiddo gets, K3 kiddo gets sick? So are you guys able to see my new Google tab? Nobody's live right now. Somebody yell no if you can't see it. If you go to Oregon Department of Education, and I have this in my office, and I also have it, Dawn has it because I think her and I, it's kind of the biggest thing. So you go to Ready Safe School Learners, and these are all the different documents that they have put out. And really, there's one more that they put out last night that is not up here yet, but I'm guessing it will be here shortly. So this planning for COVID scenarios in schools, this is what we'll be following. And it's 40 pages, so it's really fun. But it definitely made me feel more comfortable. So I can't answer every explicit question, but what you do is you follow it through, and it tells you different scenarios. So here's our confirmed case. This is our A kid. If they have close contact with a B kid, maybe that's their grade level, maybe that's somebody that they ride the bus with, maybe that's a sibling, that would be a quarantine. If B is close to C but not close to A, that kiddo is still okay. So it's really, that's why the cohort and the tracing logs are so important, and that's our number one goal, is to track, who's here, who interacted together, and what other adults. So let's say Billy Perrier, she has her kids and she has her IA, but if I go into that room for more than 5 minutes, I need to, and really I'm saying anytime you go in the room, just to be safe, I want to know so that I can say, okay, well, Michelle was in that room, but guess what? She also went to this room, this room, this room. So we just want to be able to trace that. When you go down, it kind of gives you some visuals. To me, when I first saw this, it was a little bit confusing, so I don't really want to spend a ton of time on it. What I got the most out of is right here, these scenario pages, and they kind of give you examples of, okay, this kid was exposed but not tested. This kid was exposed and positive. This kid was exposed and negative. And they also have this flow chart that you can follow through. This one's a little bit intense, but gets it all on one document. And it tells us what we need to do, right? So I'll go through one. Scenario 1A, a healthy student or staff member has been exposed to a person with a confirmed COVID-19 case within their household. So that's the other really important piece, is that it's finding out, okay, yeah, we sent you home sick, but have you been around anybody that was positive COVID? Have you been around anybody that was around somebody with positive COVID test? So, and then it kind of just gives us what we should do. So as a school, we're going to send home that kid already. If over the weekend you find out that you were at a barbecue last week with somebody, we really need families to communicate with us privately, which, FERPA laws still are in effect here. But we need to know that your kid was exposed so that we can track that as well. So we're going to send the kiddo home, or the adult. It could be a teacher too if they're not already home. We're going to record that date so that we can make sure we're accessing those contract tracing logs from the time before and the time after. And then here's the exposed person or student, and then here's the household members. And the nice thing about this scenario thing, it actually made me feel really good. I know it's a lot of information right now for you guys, but you can go through and you can see not every example, but multiple examples of, so this was if it was exposed and it was in their home. So siblings, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever lives together. This one is exposed at my friend's barbecue last week. Becomes ill, but hasn't had any contact with anybody that they know about. So this is where it gets a little bit trickier, because what they want is, if I become sick with COVID-like symptoms and I'm sent home, or I'm already home and you guys call and report it to us, they want people to seek testing because they want to know if that's a positive or a negative. Now, we can't force that by any means. So this is where it kind of goes into, okay, the ill person has a negative test, go to 3A. It tells you how many days to stay home without testing or without any more symptoms. If they do not get tested, it's not like they can just come back either. So I can jump down to 4A. I don't know if this is super interesting to you guys, but I did read this pretty thoroughly. So they might not get tested, but again, they have to come back, it has to be so many days, or they have to have a doctor's note saying, nope, she had bronchitis and now she's on penicillin, or whatever it is, amoxicillin, and then it's talking about what the siblings can do. So hopefully that's helpful, and I can get that posted somewhere on our website if that is something that you guys would want to look at. Allison, let me know if that doesn't answer the protocol question for a K3. How's the first day going to work? We can't go in, so drop kids off in the parking lot. I'm going to let Maggie in, it looked like. The first day of school is, so if they come by bus, what will happen is K through 3 will have their own separate entrances. Hi, Maggie. Maggie, just so you know, we have to record these to post. So hopefully that's okay with you. Kindergarten, we just found out, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but just this week we found out that the USDA did grant the food waivers. So we'll have free breakfast and free lunch for every student that wants it. So we will be encouraging students to eat breakfast. We have that time slotted in. We have teachers going to breakfast with their kids. So hopefully it'll be a positive thing where we know that everybody's had an opportunity to eat breakfast at that time. If your kiddo eats breakfast at home and they don't need breakfast, we're going to have a plan for that. But I'll start with kindergarten. So our littlest friends are going to go to the cafeteria. Whether they're dropped off by a parent, whether they get off the bus, they'll go to the cafeteria. That's where they'll be visually screened and then go in to eat. Our first graders will go around the side door, and I want to say the south side door, but really it's kind of where our pickup location was. Gosh, I'm using my hands, but you guys can't see me. I'm gonna stop sharing. There we go. So they'll go in the door back towards where the pickup used to be, and they'll just slide around, and we have an entrance back there. So first grade will go there, and then they'll just go straight to their pod. Second grade will come in through the main doors, and third graders will go in through the gym. And we'll have some signage up, and we'll have lots and lots of adults to help kids with that. All of them will be visually screened before they come in. What we're hoping in a perfect world, and I think our staff can make this happen to some degree, is that we will either post like videos of the classroom, kind of like welcome videos so that parents can see the space. And then also I'm hoping like a balloon arch or something, Allison, that we can have a couple different photo opportunities at each of the different entries. So that's our goal. And, we have quite a few days to get that going. We'll do something sweet and something cute for sure. Let's see here. Allison, if we go back to full distance learning because of cases, how soon would we be able to get a Chromebook? will it be live classroom through Google, back to packets? So you get a little bit of wiggle room there. So because we're hybrid, which means they spend some time with synchronous live instruction in person and then some of their applied learning at home. If we have to go to short-term distance learning, that means somebody had a positive COVID test and also all of the first graders have to move to short-term distance learning for 2 weeks. That would most likely be a packet situation and some sort of reach out, because it would be 2 weeks of instruction. If we go to comprehensive distance learning, K-5, because of either state or county metrics, or maybe we had a school-wide outbreak of some kind, that would be more long-term. So that would be a device system. I think that's a great question. I think we need to have a plan right now for what the device checkout looks like if we go into that. I know we just posted our device checkout plan, and as we go through that, I'm assuming we'll fine tune it and make it better so that if we had to switch really quickly, we could do that. But for short term, because of maybe a COVID case or maybe a classroom quarantine, we would probably do packets. Now, if we have a situation where just one student for some reason couldn't access the instruction, what we could do is potentially see if we could set up a device so that they could log into the classroom, or we'll have some form of support system for that family while that kiddo's in short-term distance learning. What kind of supplies do we need available for our kids? You don't need any supplies. We're going to get the supplies for your kids. We are making packets, at-home kits and school kits. So we're hoping that we'll have everything here to hand out. Your kiddo, if they're a third grader, I know your kid's not, Mandy, but let's say they were, on whether their first A day or their first B day, they'll have their classroom, they'll have their information just like normal. And then when they go home that day, they'll also have their at-home kit. Right now, our at-home is looking more like applied learning. We're going to put out a proposed schedule in, kind of a perfect world schedule. What does that look like? And really, we're going to work with our families, because in a lot of situations, some of these kiddos will be with grandparents or they'll be at daycare all day, and we want to make sure that there's an equitable access to their education. So it'll be lots of enrichment, lots of applied practice, but not necessarily something that if you're reaching out to the teacher and communicating with the teacher and you're like, hey, so-and-so did not get any of that done, that's not going to be something that they'll be disciplined for or get a negative mark for. We might work with you to set up an alternative plan. So, and I know our 4th and 5th graders, I purchased the trifold boards. So I'm really hoping that our 4th and 5th grade teachers that'll be one of their first days, and one of their first plans is talking about setting that up. See here, what else do you guys want to know? What else could I share with you? I know all of the parents and staff on here are signed up for our Remind, our Facebook page, our website, making sure you know how to get a hold of the teachers. Hopefully you guys know that we will do whatever we need to do for your kid. That's our #1 goal every day. Who will be doing the visual screen? Is their temp taking? So the visual screen will be the IAs that are assigned to that cohort, and what they have is they have an ODE and Lane County Public Health approved cohort log, and so it's got the student information will be pre-populated. At the bottom, it kind of gives the checklist for what a visual screen entails, and that is on the website as well. I can share it really quickly. There's not temperature taking at this time. It's not required. It's definitely the second tier of, oh, you're not looking so good. So they could absolutely have a temperature or a thermometer available to them. And all of the teachers will have a thermometer in their classroom as well. Let me see if I can pull up, I'll share the, let me share the log really quick. So blueprints, go back to this one. I know we just posted what that was going to look like for families. Let's see here. You guys are going to get a glimpse into my Google Drive. I apologize. It is messy. 2020. And it is FRSD cohort log. So I know it's on the website, but I'm going to pull up and share this cohort log. Hopefully it's getting ready to come to your screen now. So this is the daily log that you have to keep on file for 4 weeks. So it has the child's name, what time they came in, that it was completed. You just have to mark that it was completed. If a parent walks their kid to the door, they can also say, yep, so-and-so's healthy, I attest to that, and that's fine. Parent, guardian name and phone number, interactions beyond the cohort. So if for some reason, let's say they lose a tooth and they need to come to the health room, that has to be documented so that we know how many different interactions they had. Our goal is to keep all of the interactions within their grade level cohort. What time they leave, and any symptoms or exposures noted. So, and then it kind of has the student, the staff and adult names, our roles, gives a little bit of overview right here, what this looks like. And then here's kind of some guidelines on the questions that they want to use as, you know, what they're looking for. You know, I know there's been a lot of questions and a lot of like, okay, well, how do you tell if a kid has a fever? You're looking for those glossy eyes, you're looking for the pink cheeks, you're looking for a kid that just doesn't look like they feel good. Some of what I've talked with our staff, we've always done this. Maybe not as formulaic as this, but when Miss Carrie sees those kids getting out of the car or when they're getting off the bus, when Miss Sheila sees them at the door, when Miss Trish sees them in the hallway, I don't know that we've ever had a super sick kid get all the way to a classroom before somebody's walking and said, hey, has anybody checked on so-and-so? They are not looking very good. The difference for us is that they wouldn't get in the door. We would get that walkie, or we would get that report before they came in to say, hey, so-and-so is not looking good. I would imagine that some of those guidelines could change. At one point in time, it made it sound like they were going to require temperature checks, but at this time, they're not. Billy, I just really want parents to know that we are working super hard to make sure everything is safe when kids get back. Yep, and I also just got today, I'm not sure if it's posted yet, and I haven't read it entirely to know if I'm allowed to share it yet, but we have a daily checklist for our custodial staff, what that cleaning is going to look like. So that's definitely something that there will be. Is there a link for each day of 4-5 learning? So Mandy, 4-5, they'll be in comprehensive distance learning. They'll have a Google Classroom set up. So it should be super easy, because once they log in, that single sign-on, once they log into the device or the Chromebook and they go into their Google Classroom, everything will be through there. Yeah, and we'll make sure that they have their passwords and their usernames. And that's something that actually Ms. Hutton and I were just talking about yesterday, is how do we make sure that, I'm going to stop presenting now. And just a reminder, you guys, I am recording, so don't forget that. Anyway, we were just talking about how do we get from not talking, not having a Google Classroom, not having any of that, to that first day of school. And so one of the things that we're going to do is 4th and 5th grade, they'll figure out, they'll be reaching out to you guys, number 1, next week. And then number 2, that students will be assigned to a certain live time. That way teachers aren't trying to be live with 25 kids, 30 kids, whatever. They're only going to start with a few so that they can walk through. One of the things that I just kind of try to keep reiterating is that we really need to set our kids up for success. That is our number 1 job right now. I do not want any teacher or student or parent to feel pressured about content or academic right this minute. What I want is for every one of my 4th and 5th graders to know how to get into their Google Classroom. I want them to know how to ask for help. I want them to know what the expectations are. I want them to feel confident that they can do this. So that is our primary focus these first 2 weeks. Not sure if that's helpful either, but that is our goal. May have already stated this, trying to listen with the toddler. Am I correct that I do not have to check out a Google Chromebook for my brick and mortar 3rd grader? No, you do not. Nope. So right now, our goal is to, because when they come into their grade level cohort, whether they're A day or B day, right now, our biggest class, and I guess I don't want to quote this, is no bigger than 12. Because what's going to happen is we've got our total list, our total class size, and I think our biggest class size is 32 at this time. And we have 2 teachers per grade level at K, 1, 2, and 3. We have 1 4th and 1 5th at this time. So our kids, our 32 kids will be split in half between those teachers. So that's 16 and 16. And then within those 16, that's split in half between A day and B day. So once we get over some of this stress and some of this newness, our teachers are going to have such a wonderful opportunity to have 8 children in their classroom. And every grade level has at least 1 full-time assistant to help support them. We should be able to really do some great stuff with content. Our teachers have been working really hard the last 2 years with their professional learning teams at each grade level between Bonita and Elmira. And the work that they're doing focuses on what's the priority for our kids? What's the most important stuff our kids need to learn? How are we going to teach that? How are we going to track that? How are we going to assess that? So for them to be able to try to support these kids, 8 kids at a time, I think we're fortunate. I know it's not ideal for parents that want their kids in school 4 days a week, but I think this is a great way to come back for these kids because they haven't been in school for 6 months and they're going to be nervous. I think they're going to be super excited, but I know in my gut they're also going to be scared because it's been a long time. So to be able to start in such small cohorts, I think will be very helpful. And then on their off days, like I said earlier, we're going to just start with paper pencil. And what we do have to have an engagement on those off days. So that might be a phone call, that might be a remind text, that might be something that you complete at home and return the next day. But we definitely will have some form of engagement. See if there's anything. Oh, Sarah, thank you. Oh, can I also throw Sarah out here? Sarah Elliott has 2 boys in our school, and we love them very much. And she's also offered to volunteer to be in our waiting room. So that means if we have a kid that shows COVID symptoms, and actually I should say that 2 days a week she's volunteered. So I still need more volunteers if anybody's looking for that job. She's volunteered to be in our waiting room. The ODE language is called the isolation room, and that sounds just super scary for kids and teachers. And I don't want that going over our walkies, but so we're going to call it the waiting room. That's where the kids will go to wait to be picked up if they've showed some COVID symptoms. So thank you for that, Sarah. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I've been working super hard. I will say that. And it has been, I love a good challenge and I love what I do. So I'm glad that I'm able to try to tackle some of this stuff for our students and for our teachers and our families. But it has been hard. And I will say that that's definitely a message I'm going to push out to our families too, and our students and our staff, is that we all really need to give each other some grace and some patience and be ready for needing to be flexible. We're going to have situations where our 4th and 5th graders, they're going to try to stream all day and they won't be able to. So parents, I need them to know that we're not going to let that kid drown. Teachers, I need them to know that, yep, we can be flexible and we're going to make a plan for them. That's the biggest thing. So that we're going to all work together. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. So lucky. This week has been the best week of the summer for me. Having the staff back, seeing the families at registration has definitely helped energize me a little bit. It's been hard to kind of have so much change all summer. And I understand I don't think it's been easy for anybody. You know, I don't blame ODE. I don't blame Lane County Public Health. I don't blame CDC. It's a pandemic, and that's where we're at. And that's what we're trying to work through. So, okay, it is 5:05. I'm going to do this again next week. So I'll try to have something either a little bit more structured or at least get it pushed out a little bit more so that people know what they can expect. If you need anything from me, please don't hesitate to email, text, call. Thank you to all of my staff that jumped in and supported. Okay, I'm gonna wait 1 minute to see if there's any more questions. If you guys hear of any questions, please don't hesitate to send them my way. You know, it's really hard to watch Facebook and see all of the people that maybe don't have accurate information and they're kind of sharing that out. And what we need is for people to reach out to the schools and the teachers. And so, and none of my families do that. Is this recorded? Absolutely. It will be posted tomorrow. So what'll happen is I'll log off. It'll save my recording to my Google Drive. I'll submit that to the district office, and then they will post it. All right. Thank you so much. And maybe what I'll try to do is have questions like FAQ or things that people are bringing up that maybe we're not all thinking about. Okay. Happy Thursday. Have a great Labor Day. And thank you for being here. I'm Maxing out.